Hi, everybody, and welcome to our second month of the Spirit of Flora blanket. Today, we're going to be working on the Moffatt flower. I won't zoom in. There you go. I don't know why I have this weird. Oh, hey, that fixed it. Oh, I don't know why I keep having this weird background. If anybody knows why I keep having this weird background, please email the shop, info@aroundthetable yarns. Clearly, something has changed, and I've tried to undo and redo everything, and it won't change. So, welcome in, everybody. Today, we're going to be doing the Moffatt flower, and I have a completed one here for you. Let me turn that down a little, which I think looks really great. I did change, after I did it, I did change my colors. So that's one of the things I want to talk to you about today is colors. But before we start, hopefully you've watched the first one we did, leaf trellis. There is some similarities to that block. So some things will be very familiar, some things are a little new. This one I think goes a lot faster. Less pieces, and I think it goes a lot faster. So that's a positive. Um, for this particular block, unlike the last block, you only need one size hook. So if you were using a 4mm or a G hook last time, when she called for that, that's the hook you're going to stick with. I was using a 3.5mm hook instead of a 4mm, so that's what I am sticking with through this box. So you only need that. You need a pair of scissors. You need your ever-present darning needle to weave away your ends. And you're going to need some stitch markers this time, removable kind of stitch markers, okay? And if you're recovering from a cold, you need your cough drops. So I am ready to take this on today. So let's jump in. Let me switch and share. There we go. So here is our Moffatt flower. Unlike the last one, where there was a lot of framing and putting together, and it really did end up mostly square looking, this one will be a little wobbly or wavy along your edges, even when you're done. All of that will get taken care of in blocking. So along the way, you're going to notice that. Don't let it freak you out. It's all good. Um, it this is what it should look like. If yours is a little wavier as you go along, um, don't worry about it. It will sort itself out, I promise. Um, Another thing that is different from the previous block to this block, other than using only one hook, is there are times where we do our beginning chains when we start a new round. Sometimes those chains are going to count as stitches and sometimes they're not. So pay attention to that. I will point that out as we go through. Um, and that was mostly the main part. I do want to talk to you a little bit about colors. So I thought I knew. I kind of looked at her. Oh, sorry, good close-up picture in here. There we go. That's pretty good. So I looked at her, obviously I'm using different colors, but I wanted to see what I liked about her color. So we've got the flower part, the outer flower part is really what stands out to me. We've got our leaves. I've got my two leaf colors. That wasn't going to be an issue. But there are three colors, and she uses three colors of blue here, 1, 2, and 3. And I did like how they kind of faded. So I kept that in mind when I was choosing my colors. And then we've got a center color that we go over later with another color to create the center. And then these are two different colors. So I kind of thought I had it all laid out, and this is what I picked. I started with my light green. This part gets added on afterwards, and then I moved to my gold, and then I went to my gray, and I was happy with this, but I wasn't loving this part here. So in my second one that I'm going to use for the demo, I switched it. I'm going to use the gold in my center. And instead of gold, I used my gray. And then I went to my background color here, which I like quite a bit. So I'm much happier with this. Um, so think about your colors. You may be following her kind of layout, which is totally fine. But if you're kind of making it up as you go, I would say think about these three colors here together, how you want those to fade or not fade. It's fine, but I enjoyed the fade part. And then the contrast here, it just didn't work for me. I'm not going to undo it. I'm going to use it in my blanket. But the other two will look like this for me. So if you are making the large blanket, you need to make 4. If you're making the smaller size blanket, you need to make 3. If you're just here for the ride, you can make as many as you want and turn it into whatever you want. Okay. So that's just kind of some overview before we jump in. All right. And I know I was a little off camera last time. So I've got my little mark. So hopefully as I'm working, I will stay on camera better. And I do appreciate those of you who chimed in and said, hey, I know you spend a lot of time on this. You were off camera a lot. So I apologize for that. Okay, let's get started. This one starts with, you can absolutely start with a magic ring if that is your preference. But the pattern starts with a chain 2. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to zoom in a little here. 1, 2. And then we are going to put 8 single crochets into the first. We'll skip the chain closest to the hook, and we're going to do 8 single crochets into the first. Okay. I'm going to enter that stitch. And I'm going to do 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, excuse me, and 8. We're going to slip stitch into the first one to join. And I would say, before you move on, double check you do in fact have 8, because first time I did it, I did not, and it really threw everything off. So make sure you've got 8. I'm going to do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect. All right. So that's your foundation. And then we're going to start with a chain 3. And I believe she calls this I think she does call it a chain 3. And in this case, the chain 3 counts as 1 half double plus a chain 1. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to give you a little preview here. We are going to be, when we come back around and we slip stitch to join, you are going to be slip stitching to join into that second chain. The third chain counts as the chain 1 space. So we don't want to slip in there. We want to go into the top of what would be a half double crochet. Okay. Now we are going to do a half double crochet and a chain 1 in the next 7 stitches. So yarn over. Let me make sure I'm going into the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to skip right here because I think I slip stitched in the wrong place, but I'm going to fudge it. Oh, yarn over. Half double, chain 1. Half double, chain 1. half double, chain one. Half double, chain one. Okay, before I slip stitch, let's make sure I have 8 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need one more. Because where my marker is is the first one. Oh yeah, I do have one more stitch. I think I've had too much cold medication. Chain one, and we will slip stitch in where I have that marker to join. I will say she's not very clear in the pattern on where to slip stitch. So I'm hoping these videos will help you because I've kind of worked it out and figured it out hopefully ahead of time where to slip stitch to join. Okay, and I think we then can fasten off. So that's the end of round one. Cut that and that. Okay. And I'm just going to pull that through. I'm not going to worry about my ends so much as we go through here. Okay, round two, I'm going to move on to my gray. I'm going to kind of have one here so you can kind of see where we're headed. We're going to join our yarn into any chain one space. And I have found what works for me. I don't ever want to start right where I finished because then you have tails you have to weave in all in the same place and you add bulk. But sometimes where you have to slip stitch to join, the stitches can look a little tricky. And by the time you work around, depending on how big your round is, it might not look quite the same. So what I like to do is I like to go back 1 or 2 repeats. I'm going to join my yarn. And we're going to join it with a chain 1 to secure the yarn. And then we're going to add a chain 2. And this counts as a double crochet. So we'll have a total of 3 chains. So I'm going to do my, what the repeat is, and I'll be confident in how it's supposed to look so that when I get to the little, part where I had to slip stitch, if I have to fudge it, I know what it's supposed to look like. And I'm not waiting all the way to the end of the round in case I've forgotten how my little bits were here. That's just my take. Take it or leave it. Totally fine. That's what works for me. I'm just going to brighten that up just a little. Okay. So remember when you join it with the chain 1, you have this, your tail just kind of floats. Once you've done your other chains, you can pull that out of the way because it's secured on there. All right. Now we're going to do 2 more double crochets in the same space. If you are familiar with granny squares, this will be very familiar. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to repeat all the way around. 3 double crochets in each chain space, followed by a chain 1. So this part isn't hard. And actually I would say there are probably no hard bits in this one. That's where I did it, I think. See, if I had woven my ends away, it would be a little easier. I'm going to work over my ends here. Sometimes it's just a little unclear. Reading the chart helped me a lot. But if you're not familiar with charts, hopefully this will help. One, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, chain 1. And then with the end of this, you want to make sure that you've got 8 3 double crochet little clusters, chain 1 and 1 more. Let's just double check that I've done this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, I think I messed up right there. I'm going to shove 2 in here. If this was for real, I've already got my 3 done, so this will be kind of a throwaway, but I would take this back out and do it. But for the sake of making my counts work, chain 1, and let's fit 1 more kind of in here, because we're going to move on to another one in a minute. Another sample. Learn from my mistakes. I don't know why it's the small, easy numbers that sometimes really throw me off. Okay, finish with a chain 1 and a slip stitch into the top of your original chain 3. And you can fasten off. Okay, so now we're going to be going on to round 3, and we're going to be working on top of that gray, okay? And I'm going to be using my parchmenty, and this is my background color. And I kind of like bringing in the background into the middle. I thought I would like it just in the center, but ultimately I didn't like that. Okay, so round 3, we're going to join our yarn. And I don't even know that I have to do it. I think I can probably show you. Into any of the first double crochet, I do have to show you. First double crochets of any of the clusters, okay? Because this one is something you may not have done before. So I'm going to go into the top of one of the first double crochets here. Pull my yarn through. And I am going to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. So that first chain just kind of anchors it. Tighten it up. 2 more. And now I'm going to double crochet 2 together over the next 2 double crochets. So let me show you how that works. We start with the yarn over. We go into the top of the next double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay. Now we're going to repeat that into the top of the third of that grouping. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all the loops. Okay. This is the only one in this round where it's a little bit different because it was our starting round. All the rest of them, we're going to do a double crochet 3 together, but it will look the same. Okay. And then you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go over and we're going to repeat, but this time it's going to be a double crochet 3 together. So yarn over into the top of the first double crochet of the next cluster. Remember, the top of that stitch is going to lean into that chain space. Don't go into the chain space, go into the top of the stitch just next to it. And pull through 2 loops. So you've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go into the next one, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, go into the last one, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and when you've got 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. So you can see they look very much the same, but that initial one is done just a little bit different. And then you chain 5. And I'm going to do it one more time. Yarn over, pull through. It does want to roll on you a little bit, so let me slow that down. You've done your chain 5, yarn over, and that's where you kind of have to just slow it down to get your chain in the right place. Go into the second one, pull through 2 loops. So you're doing the beginning of all 3 double crochets, and then you finish all 3 together. I've got 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. Okay, and then chain 5 again. And you'll go all the way around, and when you get back, when you come back around, you want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Okay, because this one was a little different. So here's chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. Do your slip stitch to join right there. Okay, and what you end up with is, if I fold the other ones away, something that looks like this all the way around. So we're building a frame that we will be using, actually not on the next round, but on a following round. It's a lot of frame building in this particular block. Okay. All right, now round 4, and I'm just going to do parts of it here because none of it is particularly hard. It just might be something you're not particularly familiar with. Round 4, you are going to be joining our yarn in any chain space, not from round 3, but from round 2. So we're going to kind of fold over that round we just did because we want to work behind it. Okay, so I'm going to join my yarn in that chain space from round 2. And I'm going to do, she calls it a chain 1 plus a chain 2. So the chain 1 is what secures it. The chain 2 is what makes it count as a double crochet. 1, 2. So I've got a chain 3. Get that out of the way. And then I am going to put 4 more double crochets in the same space. So you may want to start a little bit over onto the side. You can see where we're headed here. 2. That's 3. Remember, your chain 3 counted as 1. We're going to end up with a total of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more. And then we're going to chain 1. And we're going to fold over and move over to the next chain space. And we're going to put 5 double crochets in that chain space. It's a little tight, but it's like you'll be able to get them in there. So just make sure you're working behind your round 4. And I'm just going to do 1 more in case I need it for the next round. 1, remember, a chain 1 in between. You will need that chain 1 space in a following round. So it's not the end of the world if you miss the chain 1, because I did, but it does make it a little tighter to do. 4 and 5. Okay. So what happens is when we fold this back up, that frame comes across and it looks like this. So we've got our round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. Okay. Round 5. This is where I'm doing my bit of my fade here. So I'm moving to the next color of pink. Oh, I didn't mention in the round 4, you will slip stitch into the top of that original chain 3 that you made. Okay, that's where you will do your joining. All right, round 5. In this round, we're going to be disguising or covering these chains we made here. Okay, so we're going to be working over this chain as well as into the tops of stitches of round 4. All right. This one I found to be, it can be a little tricky, but very fudgeable. All right. Joining your yarn to any of the first uh, double crochets from your 5 double crochet cluster. So I'm going to back up and I'll do it right here. Okay. But I also want to go underneath this chain, the chain from the previous round, the 5 chains. So I'm going under that. Let me pull my yarn and let me just go back to my notes. Join the yarn. We're going to chain 3. And this counts as our first double crochet. So chain 1, 2, and 3. All right. So we went over this and into the top of the first double crochet. Now you can guess we're going to be going across the, excuse me, the top of each of these double crochets, which can be a little tricky to find depending on the color of your yarn. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing into the next one. So I'm going to go under my chain space and I'm going to look for the top of the next double crochet. And there it is. And I'm going to put another double crochet. When you get to the third one, let me just make sure that that's correct. Oh, into the next 2, sorry. We're going to do one more. So under, and I just have to look for where I'm joined, go into the next one. I did have to fudge it on one of them and it was fine. Okay. So now into the fourth one, I'm going to be putting 3 double crochets. We're doing an increase here. So yarn over, go under, find the top of that 4th double crochet, and we're going to put 3 double crochets in that space. 1, and once you get the first one started, then you don't have to bend it over. 2, and 3. All right, and then we will put 1 double crochet in the last 2. So here's what's happening. I'm kind of running out of chain space and this is extending. So you just have to hunt a little bit. Go under here first and then find the top of the next. And then go under and find the top of the last. And then you're going to chain 1 and repeat. So you're going to end up with 7 double crochets in round 5. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. Chain 1, go under. Remember, the first one is going to kind of be leaning into a chain space. So 1, 2, and 3. Into the 4th one, we're going to put 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. And then you have 2 more double crochets back here of your 5, and you're going to put 1 in each of them. 1 and 2, and then chain 1. Okay. So you've got your next, so we're covering that chain. In my case, it was white, and I feel like maybe my chains were a little loose here. So as you're making the chains in rounds 1, 2, 3, that chain 5, maybe make them a little tight. You need the space. You don't need to go into the chains themselves. So you can make those a little tighter if you need to. Um, Only because I think maybe I was kind of rolling along here and wasn't so careful with my tension. So I didn't feel like it covered it up exactly. I did it better my first time around. You can see a little bit, but um, just something to look out for. Knowing that you don't need, when you make a chain that is bridging, knowing ahead of time whether you need to go into the chain itself, if I have to make stitches into the chains, or do I just need to make stitches into the chain space? If I need to make stitches into the chain, making them tight is not a good idea. But if I just need the space, you you could tighten it up a little bit. I could have made these a little more snug. I think I did on this one, and this one for sure I did. It covers it up a lot nicer. Okay. So that was my notes on round 5, and you're going to do this all the way around. You're going to end up with 7 double crochets in each of your groups here, and you will end up slip stitching to join into the top of that chain 3. And that is the end of round 5. Round 6, round 6 is going to take you a bit. So it's a little more detailed. It adds this little frilly edge made out of picots. So we're going to be doing a lot of picots around here. I think this is probably the round that took me the longest to do. So if you're looking for a stopping point to have a beverage, this would be a good one before you do. Okay. Um, so let me show you how it works. You will, let me make sure I didn't have any other notes for that one. Making picots, we're going to join our yarn into the top of the first double crochet, which is what I did right here, sorry, into the first double crochet of one of the 7 double crochet clusters, okay? And I'm going to just finish the repeat here. You will join and you will do let's see, you're going to chain 1, and it does not count as a stitch in this particular stitch. So you'll chain 1, which just connects to your yarn, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the same stitch. Most of the time when a chain 1, either a turning chain or a securing chain, when they don't count as a stitch, you're going to be going back into the same place, into the same stitch. If it counts as a stitch, 99 times out of 10, or 9.5 times out of 10, you'll be making your next stitch 1 stitch over. But since this one, you would do I'm going to take it out, but you would do it as a chain 1, and then you would go back in and do your single, okay, like this. What happens then is after you do your chain 1, you're going to do a single crochet in the same place, and I already did it again. Single crochet in the same place. Let's zoom in just a little. There we go. You're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now, this chain 3 is going to become our little picot, which is a little bit like a bobble. It's going to bend down and create a little bit of a bobble. Now, where you secure the picot is what I want to really point out to you. So I don't know that her description in the pattern was super clear. So if I were to look, when we made our single crochet, that's the top of the single crochet right there. Okay. From the side, here is the kind of the base of the stitch down here. You are going to secure your picot by going underneath the closest leg of that top, like the front loop, plus this little side. And we're going to be doing this kind of joining a couple of times in this pattern. So I thought it was worth the time to show what it is she means. So that's where you're going to be joining. So I did my chain three, and I'm going to slip stitch underneath, or in, she says into the base is what she calls it, of the single crochet. This is what she means. So go underneath those two loops, yarn over and pull through both. It's a pretty short little picot. It's awfully cute though. Okay. We're going to do the same thing over again um, across our clusters here. So single into the next, chain one, two, and three. I'm going to slip stitch right there, pull it all the way through and into the next. Now you might think that you're going to do this in all of them, and you're not. Excuse me. So we're doing this into, I'm going to do this a total of 3 times. Okay. So I have 3 little picots out of my 7 double crochets I have here. On the 4th one, we are going to be doing the same stitch, but we're not going to go underneath, but we're only going to go underneath the front loop. So on the 4th one, you're going to go underneath the 4th loop. You're going to do the same thing, make a single crochet, chain 3, come back and secure it in the same way with a slip stitch. So only to the front loop. We are going to need the back loop that we are not using on another round. So make sure you do that in the front loop on the 4th stitch. I know it's really pulled up right now, and what's going to pull it back down is when I make the next one. Single, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into that base. Okay. So after on that, so that was the 4th stitch, 5th stitch, same thing on the 6th stitch. Single, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the base. Oop, I got myself all twisted. That's the hard part when it's a tiny picot. So I did my 1, 2, 3 underneath that leg, underneath this leg, and pull it through. All right. Our last one, the top of the 7th, we're only going to put a single crochet, no picot on the final one. So what you end up with is 6 picots and a single, and on the 4th one, it's done into the back loop only. I'm sorry, the front loop only. I'm going to show you what that looks like on the other side. So you'll have, there's my back loop, there's my back loop, there's my back loop, because you're going to need that loop, okay? So you'll end up with 6 picots and a single. The 4th one is done through the front loop only. So I have just one more here. Finish with the chain 1, because you've got a chain 1 you're covering here. Eventually we're going to be making stitches over both of these chains. So you need that chain 1. I'm just going to do this last one real quick. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, I think this is the longest round just because it's a little fussy, but it's awfully cute. So 1, that's 2, two, three. My next one is the fourth stitch. So I'm going to do front loop only. One, two, three. And I'll do two more the same way. One, two, three. And one more. Sometimes you got to do that in two steps. And then your final one is just a single. And then you're going to chain one. And you are going to slip stitch into you can slip stitch into kind of the side of the single crochet. It's going to be so covered up with the little picot. You're going to be fine. Fast move. Okay. So now, before we go on, I haven't done my ends on here. We're going to turn it over. This is what your back side looks like. And we're going to put stitch markers into those back loops. So we're not hunting for them later. Okay. So you can either do it from the front. One, two, three. Here's the fourth one. Fold it over and find it like that. Or depending on how much contrast there is in your colors, you can probably see it. So I just want to mark all of those. It's going to be used as an anchoring point as we're building another frame. Little FYI. If you forgot to do it back loop only, let's just pretend that maybe that happened because it's certainly likely to happen. Knowing that it's used as an anchoring point, if you had to do it kind of around one of those stitches, I think it would be fine. But you want to have it basically in the middle, okay? And I think that's the last one. There. Okay, so you have all these little markers hanging. And now we're going to make our center star. On my original one, so other than the color, I felt like I had to fluff my yarn a lot. She doesn't give you much guidance as far as how to do your center star. I did watch the UK video and I looked at a couple other people's projects, and so I'm not thrilled with this one. I'm going to do it over again. But I want to show you what I think is a good way to do it. You're going to need your darning needle. This one I'm going to use my gold color. And you need a length of yarn, a fairly decent length of yarn, because I'm going to suggest, depending on the thickness of your yarn, that you double it. It was also been suggested that you could go over it twice. I would rather just double my yarn and do it once. Okay. So got a fairly decent length here. Thread it on. And I'm going to come up through the center like this. Don't pull all the way through. So I'm gonna leave the loopy part where I folded it in half, the loopy part. That's the official term. I'm gonna pull my ends through, but I'm gonna leave that at the back loose. And now I'm going to go into from round two, I believe it was, into this chain space right here. Okay. So as I pull it through, I'm going to then, to secure my yarn, pull it through the loop, and that secures the yarn right there. Okay. That's how it gets attached. All right. Now let me turn it back over. Don't pull it tight. When you pull it tight, it loses its, I think it loses its style. And like I said, I found I had to kind of fluff it a little bit. So you could even do three strands if you wanted to. Play with it a little. Like I said, she doesn't really give you much guidance. It's totally decorative. And I'm just going to come back up through the center again and into the next chain space. Up through the center again. So that center hole that you might have been worried about gets filled up.
Is that somewhere in the directions, ma'am?
No, she doesn't give you any guidance. She says, use the picture as a guide or something like that. I can't remember
Mhm.
exactly what she said.
And what page is that on?
That is on. That's a good question, Kim. It is after round six.
Okay.
So it is, let's see. Oh, in the
Mm.
middle of the page after round six.
Okay.
She says using caramel and using the image as a guide, oversew a star shape.
Oh yeah, I skipped right over that.
Yeah, I know it. You can go back and add it anytime you want.
Yeah.
But I do think it adds a nice detail.
Okay.
But like I said, that's all the guidance she gives you. So hopefully save you a little heartache. So if you're holding yarns double, you might have to even your tension out a little. So just take a few minutes, go around.
Right. Then she doesn't even do a picture showing it.
She really doesn't.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. If I was feeling very fancy, I would add beads or sparkles. So I just kind of readjusting my yarn a little. Oop, and that's why having your ends woven in is nice because I'm totally sewing over my ends here, pulling them up. And one more. So if you chose, you could certainly, if that didn't look great to you, you could go over it again if you wanted to with either a single strand. I'm just going to do one more with my double and see if I like it. Totally up to you. Just kind of avoid pulling it tight. So it's a fussy little bit with no guidance. So that's the guidance I'm offering. But it does fill out that center and really gives it a nice finishing spot in the middle. Um, we look at her picture, it really does kind of finish it off. But she doesn't really tell you how to do it. Okay? So that's the center star, and I'm going to go back and finish that later. Because we want to we're almost done. Can you believe it? Okay. On to round seven. Round seven, we're going to be making those fun little stems like we did in the leaf trellis. All right, I'm going to show you what the back looks like. We're going to be making, in mine is the dark green. We're going to be making a frame for future bits, plus the stems that will create our four corners for our leaves. And in addition, we'll be marking some spots here for a little decorative puff stitch to add on our sides. Okay. So I'm going to maybe do two repeats of this. It's not hard, but and it will be familiar to the leaf trellis. All right, we're going to join the yarn under a chain one space, under the chain one spaces from rounds 5 and 6. So remember when I said when you move from here to here, chain one, from here to here, chain one, this is where we're joining right here, underneath both of those chain one spaces. I do believe in my first one, somewhere along the way, I think in the medium color, I forgot to do a chain one. And since I can't seem to see where it is, totally fudgeable. I just kind of created a space there. Okay. So don't rip anything out if you if you find you made a mistake there. So we're going to be joining with a chain one. Does not count as a stitch. Let me just snug that up. Now my stitch marker is going to make clickety clackety noises. Okay. So we're in between, and that's part of the reason why there's no picot in this last one, so that it opens this up a little bit here. All right, we're going to do a single crochet in the same space. That was a really lousy single crochet. Let's try that again, Pam. Let's just try it all again. Pull it through, chain one. All right. Single in the same place. Come on. Now I can get rid of that. Okay. Now we're going to, and this is going to be familiar, we're going to chain six. Let me lighten that up just a little. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to skip the fifth chain. So the one close, I'm sorry, this chain right here, we're going to skip the one closest to the hook. We are going to have to use it later. So if in the leaf trellis block you marked it or think you might have trouble locating it, you could put a stitch marker there now. And then we're going to work down the sides, single crochet. There we go. 5 single crochet back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to anchor it again with another single crochet over those two chain spaces. So, whoops, back in there, single crochet. So now we have our wonky little stem. We've got 2 single crochets. I'm sorry, we start with a single crochet, chain 6, single crochet your way back down, single crochet back in that same space to anchor it. Okay. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do a single crochet where into that back loop that we marked with our stitch marker. At that point, you can take the stitch marker out. You're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yep, chain 4, and we're going to put 2 single crochets into this next pair of chain spaces. So we're going to go over both. Don't worry if your yarn comes over in front. Okay, it's too hard to kind of pull it out of the way. Do it afterwards. So 1 single, 2 single. And then you can pull your leaf, your petal forward. Okay, so what it looks like is on the back, here's our stem, here's a chain 4 and it's anchored, a chain 4 and it's anchored. It just gives it more structure than doing a chain 8 all the way across. That would be pretty floppy. By doing the 2 chain 4 spaces with a secure in the middle, it just gives it a little more foundation. She's really genius. And now we're going to repeat 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to find our next marked stitch and single crochet. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're back to here. And now we're going to make another stem. So single crochet. Chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to make, let me pull out some yarn here. The ever-present little twist up. Okay. Skip the chain closest to the hook and do 5 singles all the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's try that last one again. And then we'll secure it with another single crochet under the, excuse me, chain 2 space. Boy, this cold rears its ugly head. I have my cough drop. 1 second. Okay. So now you'll repeat and get your little bits. There we go. You'll chain 4 again. Your stems will become your corners. And your little 2 single crochets become your sides. So we're starting the squaring off process here. Okay. You'll repeat it here and here, same way. I don't think I need to keep going, so I'm going to cut my yarn and we'll move on to, oh, excuse me. I apologize. Okay, when you finish your stems, you are going to, you'll come back and you will slip stitch into the top of that first single that you made. You'll finish with anchoring it here, chain 4, and you will secure it with a slip stitch right here, okay? Into the top of the single. All right, let's make some leaves. I like making the leaves. This leaf has a little bit different shape than last month. we are going to join in a chain four space before a stem. So what I'm going to do is, I really shouldn't have cut that yarn. I'm going to, I'm just going to go a little further here. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to secure this one so that I can work a whole repeat for you. And then we'll go from there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one would get the 2 singles. 1, 2. We'll stop there. Okay. Get frilly, my frilly bits in front. Okay. So you want to join your leaf color to the chain four space before a stem, not before a 2 singles, but before a stem. And we're going to join with a chain 1. It's not a stitch. Use the wrong end. There we go. Okay. And you can be up close to your leaf. We're not working across that chain four space. Okay. You are going to put a single in the same space. So we've anchored our yarn, hopefully. I don't know why that throws me off so much. And then we're going to put a single in the same place. Let's just get it secured. Okay. Get my tail out of the way. All right, so I did a chain 1 and I've secured it with a single. Now, if you remember, where we put where we make the leaf stitches is the same. We're going to be using the end of our hook and we're going to be picking up just that single side. We're going to be doing 5 stitches here. We've got to kind of find that single, there we go, that single edge. And we found it was a little easier last time to use the edge of your hook to kind of pull it open, because this is the other side of the chain that we made the singles into, okay? We're going to start by making 2 triples into the first space. So we don't want to go into the top of the single crochet here. We want to go into the side of that chain. So yarn over twice. And it's going to pull away because it's just a single strand. 1, 2, 3. Make another one in the same place. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the widest stitches are going to be at the base of this leaf. And then we're going to do a double in the next one. Pull that away. A half double in the into the next, sorry, not the last, the next. And then 2 singles. And hopefully I started it in the right spot. If not, we're going to fudge it. Single and single. Okay. So we've got a wide and then it narrows up to the top. We are at the top of the stem, we're going to put 1 single in that the skipped stitch. So remember on this one, I marked it. I did not mark it on this one, but I could find it. It's right here. I'm going to put 1 single. I'm going to add a little picot. I am going to chain 2. It's a tiny picot. chain two picot, and I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to do the slip stitch into the base the same way we did the other picots. So under this leg and underneath the side, slip stitch to join. Okay. And then we're going to work the reverse down this side of the stem. Okay. So we're going to start with, you can look for the tops of your stitches at this point. So I've got two singles, one, two, and then a half double, and then a double, and two triples in the last one. One, one, one. And now we want to anchor this side of the leaf with a, let's see, we're going to anchor it with a single crochet in the chain four space right there. Let's see how that looks. Not bad. Okay. So you could move this up a little closer if you needed to. So a really pretty leaf. Now we've got our leaf anchored on both sides, which is good. I'm going to chain four. One, two, three, four. I'm going to skip this single crochet. I'm going to skip this. I'm not going to do anything here except go into, I'm sorry, I'm going to move across and I'm going to do another single into the top of the first single. Remember, we made two single crochets there. So I'm going to do a single. I want to make sure that's a single. Yep. So into the first of those two singles. So there's the top of that one. Do a single. And then into the top of the next single, we are going to make a puff stitch. Aren't we lucky? All right. So puff stitch. She does give a description of how to do the puff stitch. Starts with the yarn over. Go into the top of the stitch, pull up a loop. We're going to do that 3 times. Yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 2. Yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 3. You will have 7 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yarn over, pull through all. And I really pull down on it to open up that. And even then, sometimes it gets caught. We'll try that one again. Part of it's where I fastened off, so my tension's a little off. Let's try that again. All right, single crochet, and then yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all the loops. There we go. And don't miss this next part. Put a single crochet into the same place where we made our puff stitch. Let's try that one more time. Single crochet in the same place. Okay. So what you have going here is a leaf. You start with a single crochet, you build your leaf up the side of the stem, you make a picot at the top, you do the reverse of the stitches, so it started with 2 trebles, a double, a half double, 2 singles, make a picot in that skipped stitch from our chain, and then we'll work back down 2 singles, a half double, a double, two trebles or triples in the last stitch, and then secure it to this chain four space with a single crochet. We're going to chain four. We're going to skip that marked stitch, and I'm going to turn it over in a minute so you can see what it looks like on the back. And into those two singles, we're going to make a single into the first, and then a puff and a single into the second of those two stitches. Tighten that up a little. So what you get on the back is that we've used this frame here to secure our leaf stem and to secure or to bridge between that and our puff stitch. Okay. And then you would continue on. That's your repeat all the way around. Make a leaf, work across, make your puff. And then you'll chain four. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we would come around onto this side at that point, and we would secure it here, make our second leaf, and work across. So that's the whole repeat going around. A leaf and then a center, leaf, then a center, leaf, then a center, leaf, and then a center. Okay. So what you get looks like this. So there's my leaf. And at some point, and it was this one, I did not secure my stem. I did not secure it with another single crochet. So it actually is quite floppy. I'm going to have to go back and just take some of the green yarn because my white is showing through and just kind of add another single crochet into that space. But let's show one that is correct when we did the stem. So it's nice and secured there with two single crochets because on another row, we do need two single crochets. We've got to do something with that on one of our next rounds. So we build the leaf up, we build the leaf down, we secure it, secure to this chain four, into this chain four, and then we make another chain four, and we make a single here, and a puff stitch, and a single, and a chain four, and we skip that stitch and we make another single and make another leaf. So because you're going over the chain space, you can move this a little bit as needed. Gives it a little room to move. Build another leaf all the way around. That's the one that's wrong. Here's another one that's right. Okay. All right. Now the best news is the rest of your rounds are all in one color. We're going to be moving on to our background color. We're really almost done. Okay, this first round, we're going to be working up and building a framework. And then the next round, we'll be attaching it to the leaves and building it up. And then we'll be finishing a round. It's real, you're kind of on the home stretch at this point. Like I said, the frilly picot round was the one that took the longest. So let me get my background color out. And let's see what we can do here. So now we are on round 9. So we're building the frame, and we will be working over our light green or our leaf colored chains at this point, okay? I probably should have made an extra one there so we could do it, but we're gonna make it work. All right, you're gonna join your yarn to the single crochet before the puff stitch. Okay, let me finish this off again. That's my real quick again. Just cut the shirt so it's out of the way. Okay. I'm going to do a little backwards work in here so that I can show the repeat in order. Thank you for your patience. And then we'll get on with that. So when I was double checking with any tips and tricks I could find in the UK videos, she actually doesn't show you a lot of the rounds because a lot of them are pretty easy. So only the ones that had something that would maybe might be a little difficult are the ones that they did videos for. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull through, do another single in the same spot, chain 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to secure it. So this is how you would finish. I'm going to secure it to the top of that single with a slip stitch. And now I can show a whole repeat. Okay. Come on. Okay. I'm going to take these little markers out because they are making a lot of noise. This is what it looks like when you don't do your ends as you go. I'm regretting it. Okay, let's take that one out too. Okay. So now with our background color, you are going to join your yarn into the single before the puff stitch, which was, so here's a single, a puff, and another single. So I'm going to go into the top of that single. And I'm going to secure it with a chain 1, which is not a stitch. Doesn't count as a stitch. I'm going to do one single in the same place. Okay. And now I'm going to do one single in the next 2 stitches. So into the top of the puff stitch and into the top of the single after the puff stitch. I'm just double checking my notes here. One single, the next 2 stitches. Okay. Now I'm working over my leaf color. I'm going to do 5 single crochets over the chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. All right, so we're covering up that leaf colored chain. Okay. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And what we're going to be making is we need to build our frame behind this leaf to support the leaf. And it's going to end up looking like this. Okay. So we just went over these stitches. I'm going to end up making a chain 3 right here. And then I'm going to be making a double, a chain 3, and another double across. Okay. So that's what it's going to end up looking like to kind of support that leaf. So let me show you how it works. So I did a chain 3. I'm going to fold my leaf down. And remember when I said that we were going to be using these two single crochets of our stem. We were going to need those two singles. This is where we need them. So on the back side, if I just turn it over or fold it over, we've got the back side of those two singles. Here's the two legs of this single, and here's the two legs of this single. We're going to be making a double crochet using one leg from each, the middle legs. So when I discovered my problem with this one, there was here, when I went to do my securing, I didn't have two singles. I only had one. That's when I discovered I had the problem. So I made it work. I just went into one of the legs, but you can see that it pops out and it shows. Okay. So I'm going to do a double crochet underneath those legs. So let's start with the yarn over and make our double crochet. And now I'm going to chain three. 1, 2, 3. And then make a double in the same place. So I'm going to go back and do a double underneath the same two stitches. 1, 2. All right, so what we did was, when we look at it this way, we made a chain three, then we made a double here, built our double up, chain three, made another double in the same place, and we're going to chain three. And then we're going to do 5 single crochets. And of course, I don't have it on this side. Oh, yes, I do. 5 single crochets here across in the other anchor here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're back to our single, puff, and single. So we'll do a single in the first one, a single in the top of the puff stitch, and a single into the last single. We'll pretend that that's good. Okay. So that's your repeat from puff stitch to puff stitch. It's going to go across. Here's what it looks like when I lean it forward. Do it that way. And from the back, you're getting your framework built for your background color. Okay. Um, you're going to do that all the way around. And I'm going to just cut my yarn and come back. Now the next round, oh, you will slip stitch, I apologize. Slip stitch to join in the, I'm sorry, you'll slip stitch, but you're not going to end up cutting your yarn. I shouldn't have cut it. It's all right. You'll slip stitch here where you finished. Okay. You're going to chain one, again, not a stitch. You just tighten that up. Okay. We're going to do, now we're going to work into, let me turn, now that I'm in a bright color, let me turn the contrast down just a little. There we go. Now I'm going to be working into those single crochets I made before. I'm going to make 5 singles. So I did a, let's see, slip stitch to join, do a single. I'm going to do 5 singles. Come on. And 2 half doubles. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully I started in the right place. 5. Oh, I did. Two half doubles, one and two. And that takes us across here to our chain three that we made. Okay. Now into that chain three, we're going to fold the leaf forward again. We're going to put three, I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Three double crochets into that chain space. One, two, and three. Now we're going to work into some leaf stitches and secure our leaf bit here. So we've started to build up our frame here. So here's where you join. We're going to skip the anchoring single and we're going to skip the first three leaf stitches. And we are going to make half double crochet in the back loop only into the next two leaf stitches. So skip one, two, and three. I'm going to do two half double crochets, back loop only. One, and the next one back loop only. All of the stitches you're making into the leaf will be back loop only. Pull up a loop, pull it through. Then I'm going to chain two. I'm going to skip the picot bit and I'm going to work down the other side. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh no, single crochet. I'm sorry. I got to do the single crochets and those two single crochets, back loop only. So one and two. Now we can skip the picot by doing a chain two. It'll just kind of come behind and we'll do two singles, back loop only. One. You can always pull your picot back forward. Two. Two half double crochets, back loop only. One, two. We'll skip the last three stitches. Excuse me. And we will do three double crochet into this chain space. One, two, and three. Um, Now you're going to skip this first single. This is kind of important for your stitch count. Skip that first single and half double crochet. So remember the top of that single kind of leans in. Half double crochet in the next two stitches. One. So we're really doing the reverse of what we did before. And single in the next eight. So one, two, three. And that takes us right where we started, working across the puff stitch. Okay, let's get that all turned up there. So we started here, worked across the puff with singles, started adding half doubles. Into the chain space that we created behind, we added doubles. Then we attached our leaf. So now our leaf is part of the goodness. And let's move that little picot forward because there's a little chain two behind it. And then did the reverse back down. And then continued with single half doubles and then singles across. And then you would do the same thing. You would come up to this one. You would come up singles and working the frame the same way. So your repeat is from half double, from the puff stitch across and across the next puff stitch. And you'll do that all the way around. Then you will slip stitch to join. This time I'm not going to cut my yarn. I'm just going to drag it behind. Let's try that again. Two. There we go. Just finish these off here. Here we go. Two. Okay. And then I would come, I just pull a nice big loop so it drags across the back. Okay. We would come back and slip stitch to join in the top of that first single that we made. I got no tension on my yarn. I apologize. Okay, we're going to make this work. Make sure I'm working with the right yarn here. Okay, chain one does not count as a stitch. By the way, we are now on round 10. I'm sorry, round 11. We're going to just work 13 single crochets. One, two, so just straight. Three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. My fingers are crossed. I've done this right. 11, 12. Pretty darn good. 13. What that takes us to is that, well, I'm a little off. I'm just going to do an extra one so you can see. I don't think I started in the right place. To that right before that chain two that's behind our picot, okay? You're going to do a half double into that chain two that's behind our picot. And then in all her wisdom, Miss Janie Crow wants us to put a double crochet through the center of that two chain picot. Really, you're just going to kind of poke it in. And through the chain space behind it, and it was a double, I have to yarn over. So you just kind of have to find the center. It's a really tiny picot. But this is going to make it really stand up and really finish off that leaf. Into the chain space, pull it back through. There we go. And then another half double only into the chain space. This is creating our corner. So our corner now consists of a half double, a double, and another half double, with the double being the point. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you there. Then we're going to do 26 single crochets and end up in the same place again. So we did 13, which is half of it, and you're going to work all the way around again the same way. So I'm just going to do singles down this side here. One, two, three. So do check your stitch count. The final round, which is the next round, you will end up with 28 stitches plus your corner stitches, which is what we ended up having in our other block, so that when you sew them or when you stitch them together, you've got the same final stitch counts to join, okay? I think if you're feeling comfortable, I feel you could absolutely fudge it a little bit if you needed to get the correct stitch count. But do make sure when you end this round, you should have 26 between your corner spaces, okay? I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to move on to the final round. Okay. You will slip stitch to join like we did before to the top of our first single. And we're going to chain one. Again, not a stitch. Same thing. You're going to do singles. This time you will have, you're going to do 14 because we're going to do singles all the way up to that first half double that we did. Okay. This is where I would want to make sure my stitch count is correct because this is your final round for this block. I can't wait to undo all of this so I can finish it properly. And as we've been doing this, you'll notice with every round, we are straightening up our sides just a little bit by building tall, using the taller and the shorter stitches. It's really straightening out our sides. Okay, we're gonna get up to that. So here's the top of the double, here's the top of the half double. So we'll make our single there. Into that double that comes through the picot, which is our center of our corner, we're gonna put a half double, a double, and another half double. And then we'll work down the same way. And you'll do that all the way around. I'm just going to work just past the leaf here. And then I'll show you the finished. Okay. There you go. So my tension was a little better. So we almost have a straight side. It does pull in just a little bit here, which she says is exactly what's going to happen. Blocking is going to be important to this block. So let me pull over the finished one and zoom out. There we go. So I still have a little bit of a dip here. That's where we did the majority of our um, building up was right around those leaves. The middle straightaways are quite nice, but because we have all this framework back here, it will be um, it will block out really nice. There's a lot of give to it, and she said not to be worried at all about that. So that's your finished Moffatt flower. Does anyone have any questions who's on here or anything I can show again if they happen to be live at the moment? I'm going to show the back. So we have all of our framework. Most of it's covered up. It looks really nice, I think. So there we go. We have our Moffatt flower. A lot of similarities to the trellis, but a few new things in there. I think it's really fun. This was good. Anybody have any questions? No? That's great. Well, thank you for coming. I'm going to stop sharing my camera here. Next month, we're going to do, I believe it's the Merton, I believe. And this one, that one will be constructed. Let me look at my schedule. Will be constructed a little differently. When I was started to work on it ahead of time, we will be adding frames as opposed to building out. We'll be adding frames. So that one will have a lot of differences, but still very fun and very pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. So I'm going to stop recording.